Good morning. I'm going to talk about of oh Masha, you are a naughty girl, are you? Please be quiet while I'm talking. Okay. All right. Good morning, folks. My name is Sarvana. I'm feeling very excited to talk to you for the first time as part of this Ember conference. I thank the people at Chennai Ember for having given this great opportunity for interacting with you guys. So let's get started. So we have this demo page for my add-on, the Ember CLI Dixie offline add-on, which supports adding offline support for any Ember app. So this, let me walk you through this demo page a bit, and then we'll get into the actual offline problem. So this page, this is basically a page for a store which sells colors. So now there are three colors on sale. The first is purple, teal, and sea green. So when we select each of these colors, we can place an order by specifying the quantity, and this is the response from the server. So whenever the status is done, it means that the server has processed, and we are seeing a server copy of the data. So now when we go to the orders page, we will be able to see the order that we have just now placed. So this is the app, and there is a help which describes what I've been doing right now. So let me go to the slides again and talk about offline. So when we talk about offline, the first thing that comes into our mind, be it Ember or non-Ember, or service workers. Now, service workers are in the kind of a man in the middle between the web page and the web server, which caches various assets like the index page, the asset page, JavaScripts, CSS, and everything. If we have configured it to do so, and it will serve those requests from the cache when it detects that the web server, sorry, the web page is offline. Basically, there is no internet connection. So this demo site actually supports offline using the service worker. So this has been integrated using the great add-on that Dockyard has given us for Ember. So let me quickly show you like how the service worker works and caches the requests. So now when we talk about this HTML page, we have a lot of resources like yeah. So a lot of resources like the actual HTML page. So this is the actual HTML page, and this is the list of static assets that the page links to. So now if we go back to the application, so if we go to the service workers, we see that the service worker is up and running, and we can see what are all the requests that are cached using the different caches that Ember Service Worker add-on gives us. So the index cache caches the index HTML. So this is what is present here, which is the same as the index HTML page. So let me quickly demo the offline functionality for you right now. I just switched over to offline, and I'm going to do a refresh of the page. So we are back again in the same page that we were even though we were offline. So so that means that the service worker, if we go to the network page, we see that all of the requests, the index page, the CSS page, the JavaScripts have been serviced by the service worker. Now we'll talk about the image in a little bit right now. So when we go back to the service worker configuration, so we have this asset cache, which basically configures or caches all the static assets that the page links to. Now I just talked about the image. So the slideshow has two images embedded inside, or rather one image that is embedded inside. Basically, the service worker explanation image. So if you look at the image is actually a HTTP request. So it links to love2dev.com. I've linked the source to here. And so because this is a HTTP request, we have configured the asset cache fallback add-on to basically cache this request for us, so that when we are offline, it serves it from the cache. So this is the like basic functionality of a service worker, which helps to basically cache any request that goes from the client to the server, so that it can fulfill the same request when we are offline. So this table basically summarizes what we have been discussing right now. So there is this index page which has been cached by the Ember Service Worker Index, and then there are a lot of assets on the page which has been cached by the Asset Cache add-on, and we have a image request that we have that we like we just saw that it was cached by the cache fallback add-on. Now, as I demoed to you, we also have some API requests that are happening from this page. So let me continue making those API requests. The first request that we are going to make is get products. So when I do a control refresh, the product list, the purple, teal, and green, is actually being serviced from the IndexedDB add-on that I am demoing right now. So I'm going to continue making an order in offline and demo to you how this order is going to be synced back offline. Sorry, synced back online, synced back when we get to online. Excuse excuse me. So this is the purple page, and we will order one just to make it different from the previous order. And when I say place order, it says there is the status is offline cached. So it means that this object or this model is right now present offline. It has not been synced to the server. The same case is there in the orders page. The listing is a little bit turned around here, so please adjust with that. So now I'm going to quickly turn back online, and I'm going to do a refresh. So what this actually does is it makes the offline status to done status. So that is, if you see here, there is a post request that we have made, and even if you see like the MTM proxy, so yeah. Yeah, I think we can see it from the browser window itself. So we've got the response back from the server. So this is a case where we have seamlessly transitioned from offline to online, while there has been no reduction in the functionality of the app so far, as we have seen. So let's quickly go on to the slides to continue our discussion. So the API mutations, as we discussed, like the create and delete and puts, they have not supported by the service worker mechanism, primarily because the requests are not idempotent, right? So what we are doing here is using IndexedDB caching the responses for the API mutations, I mean API that cause mutations onto IndexedDB using an easy wrapper called Dixie, and we route all those requests that go through the adapter, Ember adapter, to the Dixie while we are offline. So going on to the next slide. So as we just saw, the post, delete, and put REST requests cannot be cached, and basically when there is no net, there's nothing that is going to save us unless we actually do a kind of an intelligent proxy server which caches the data and sends it back to us when we are online. So as I said, that we are using the IndexedDB for storing the intermediate data while being offline. So whatever, this is our Dixie offline adapter. It basically caches the get requests. It mimics post, put, and delete requests, like providing a stub object that gets stored, that gets created on the IndexedDB. And when we are back online, basically the host application has to write some code to sync back these saved models onto the server when booting up online back. So this is the general flow of the add-on. Now, even though this add-on supports offline, it's not a solution for the entire offline mechanism, entire offline world. So there are a lot of caveats that are involved when choosing a solution like this. So this page like lists some of the examples that I think that this add-on will not is not going to help us in any way. So the first thing is when there is complex processing on the server for any API request, then it will be difficult for us to mimic the same thing or maintain the state while being like offline and online. So examples of that would be chat applications, trading, real-time syncs, various apps that do real-time syncs, etc. This is also not going to be a solution for problems which involve complex relations like recursive relations, like a tree structure relation or a polymorphic relation, and so on. Basically, this is an add-on which is still in the works, and I have not gone into a case where we needed to support polymorphic relations. And also, like if there are multi-owner objects, then there is always a possibility of conflicts that can happen. So we don't want to enter into conflicts and make our job, make our world, make our life tougher. And I don't think this add-on gives any support for that either. We are like this add-on does not support conflict resolutions. So that being said, what is the good path for this add-on? What are all the use cases that can be solved by using this add-on? So first thing is drafting complex data. For example, like designing a custom map. When I say map, it's a kind of a layout map, not the actual Google Maps or Mapbox maps. Defining complex flowcharts, any designing thing that we can do, it's owned by that particular user, so we can cache whatever data that he generates and sync back online. And filling forms, similarly, the common use case, common solution would be to use the local storage. But when the actual form is become dynamic, like when the select boxes are all coming from the server, and there is interdependency between the first answer and second answer and so on, then it may be prudent to actually save it as save the data using this add-on. Showing a simple dashboard. So, for example, if there is an analytical app while we are offline, rather than being entirely offline, we can store like very small data that we can like aggregate on the client side using this add-on and show a very what do you say, very toned down version of the dashboard. And similarly, like small flag changes on objects and like settings and notifications can also be implemented using this add-on. Now, as far as the implementation goes, there are a lot of gotchas. This is still in beta, so please don't like expect production grade quality on this add-on right now. So as far as I work with Dixie, the support for join queries is definitely not no join queries. There is support for join queries, but it is kind of very rudimentary. And a lot of cases we might have to enter into n+1 query mechanisms. And the indexing index DB does not index Boolean types. So it's a very basic limitation. So we end up like serializing and deserializing the response when we have the Boolean types. For example, in our case, we don't have a Boolean attribute, but in the development that I did, there was a Boolean attribute for which I had to do the serialization and deserialization. And as I said, the rudimentary querying support as part of IndexedDB, and because of that, Dixie transitively. And then last but not the least, the IndexedDB itself can be full and the data can be claimed by the browser anytime without the user giving consent or without the user having any control over it. So this is not a like production fail-safe mechanism for storing the data. This is the best possible way that you can store the data. So the user has to be always informed that the data can be lost anytime. So it is like either he has to be careful in building up the data offline, or he has to make sure that he syncs back the app as soon as possible to save the data on the server. So the next steps for this add-on, I don't think, I mean, I'm planning to put more effort on this add-on only if it evokes interest, like via stars or likes on the GitHub project, primarily because of my bandwidth availability. Sorry for that. And so these are the next steps that are available. So I'm not going to read through it to explain it any further. So as this add-on has helped my learning the Ember ecosystem a lot. So I've been working with Ember for the last 4 years, and this is incidentally my first external add-on. Though I've created a couple of in-repo small add-ons. So I value the Ember ecosystem very much. Thanks for all the support that the ecosystem offers, right from like Ember Yes to Ember Deploy. So the bandwidth is phenomenal, and the quality is rocking. Thanks, guys. And with regards to offline management, we also have another add-on with relation to Ember Pouch, which has a backend against CouchDB. So this might be a good fit for other cases, but with the use case that we had, it was we had an existing JSON API server, and it was kind of difficult to munch the data and to take care of the conflict revides between requests. So we first tried this add-on, and then we we decided to go out with the Dexy version of it. Who am I? So my name is Saravana. I'm also called as Saro for people for whom it is difficult to pronounce my name. I'm from Coimbatore, India. It's a small city in India, south part of India. I am the author of Wings. So if you see here, the Wings app is a this is a small plug from my side. So please ignore and sorry for this. So this is a small learning app for kids. So which teaches like words, letters, and pictures. So this app is made in Yammer. So and it supports multiple languages. Like this is Tamil language. So A for Alai and Amma and so on. And it also supports different variants like Kanga, Chana, Kaka, Kiku, Ko, etc. So this is also fun to build in Yammer. And as I said, like I've been working with Yammer for the last 4 years, and I am available for hire if anyone is interested. And thanks for the Pipe team with whom I'm working right now for allowing me to extract this add-on based on the work that I did for them. So without that, it would not have been possible to do this presentation at all. So thanks, guys. And then I want to thank Reveal.js for powering the slideshow. Ember.js and all add-ons and all the great people around the ecosystem, Ember ecosystem. You're rocking. JSON API server for the mock in-memory server. So when this demo goes online on September 11th, I think this will be available on this URL, and you will be served by JSON API server, which is an in-memory server. So don't worry about like creating chunks of data. And the OBS Studio, which is helping me to record this video, it has great options. And Masha, the little girl, for being so patient and listening to me even though she was very little. And yeah, so that brings us to the end of the talk. And I had a very nice time presenting my add-on and the service worker capabilities on Ember apps. I would like to answer questions as part of this talk right now. So saying bye for now and talk to you on the other end. Bye bye.